ready. Alright folks, welcome back to another episode of Conan Exiles here at Gray Studios. Now if you saw from part 1, we did the main build on the area, although I did add a few changes and additions. But we got the overall appearance to it. Now we're going for more of the aesthetics, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. And I'm also going to show you the few extras I did to finally complete this Cliffside keep. Now first thing I did is I built a bridge. You got a lake, you got a river. What? Okay, where the... Okay, I don't know where that went. I'll fix that later. Anyway, yeah. Fishies for days. And the reason why I built the bridge so low is because, well, I mean, the pond's pretty low. See what I mean? You'll only be able to get, like, a little, small canoes under it, which is fine. Few pretty torches, few bridges. I don't know why I said bridges. I'd say braziers. Sumerian braziers, to be specific. Alright, now on to the keep. Now, this thing is made out of black ice, because I like to use the tier 3 stuff, mainly because it looks nicer and prettier. Here we have some fence lines ahead. And this kind of works to kind of also funnel troops, so it's got a little bit of defensive feature, although realistically you could just get chopped with an axe. The heads, a lot of undead heads here, so I wanted to assume that these guys were enemies of the more supernatural forces. And why not? I mean, it's spiky, it looks warish. I know that's not saying much considering I got a bunch of coin wall torches too, but I like the wall torches. And you'll see what I mean when it gets nighttime. So now we're here. We have the giant demon spider heads. And just like that. I didn't need to work much on the gate because, I mean, small area here with the bridges. I mean, in reality, you'd probably be able to only fit maybe small carts through here. As you can see, we've got a place to dump oil here. And here. And a little bridgeway along here, as well as a little area set up here. And this basically just makes a giant kill box. I think that's what they were called historically, but yeah. I could be wrong. I had spikes to the side here so they can't climb. Just, you know, do the game. And generally, yeah. If you have a group of people trying to get in, boom. Archers, 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 archers. More archers, but they could also drop rocks. But Conan, they can't really, so archers. They could throw orbs, though. I didn't mention this earlier, but we'll also go into detail on how defensible is it, how realistic it is, and maybe what could be changed or improved upon, but that could be depending on a person's taste and interest. Alright, so as you see, we got like a little town area here. Little shop. This guy sells ceramic jars, possibly food. Blacksmith and armorer. Some little spears, swords, and axes to the sides. Couple little grindstones. And yeah, I like to use the improved ones too, just because they also look nicer. And here we have a smaller shop here, and this one's more for, you know, drinks. Maybe you need some, you know, you just need some furniture or an extra teapot in case one breaks. You know, like a little mini market area with aloe in the back, and I'll explain that later. Now here we have the tavern, and here we have a bunch of stools, chairs. It is narrow, but it is a bit tall as well. It's just a small tavern. And we have teapots on each side. chairs. Areas where if people just want to rest and relax, they can. And I wanted to make a little storage area here, like food and stuff, just because, well, you know, place to store things, makes it look real. And little fermentation barrels because, I mean, hey, it's a tavern. And the squirrels just for flavor. And yeah. Benches here too, in case maybe they want some better fresh air. All the place is covered with windows. Now over here, we have the Exalted Shrine to Ymir. With a few extra flavors, such as the Frost Lotus and benches for a warship, because I mean we're building right next to a cliff. Although right now we're on maybe the edge due to the foundations here. You'll see what I mean soon. And over here, if I do believe there's some. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, they just had to take effect. Well, you know, for the render in there. Priest house. And down here, just houses. And that's why it's saying Cliffside Keep, because a lot of the structure is built on the side, both literally and non-literally, on cliffs. So we're going to peek into the houses. A table here, bed. This one's got a narrow entranceway, but table for snacking. Bed here. Cabinets. Let's take a peek at this one. A lower barracks, so any trespassers, intruders, they'll have a good look at the waterway and they can fire down arrows if they presume to be hostile or not. And while we're at it, and yeah, I made the priest's house look a bit nicer. Add a few extra decorals. Use the relic hunter flags because they look nice. They look the closest thing to, you know, Ymir-ish. And more glowing torches. Alright, now for these houses, I decided to kind of go with like a duplex here vibe. Same structure build in terms of like the stairs and the floors. Furniture is different though. And I decided that these would be, you know, like the merchants kind of quarters, because merchant men and women are business men and women. Other area here. Over here we have a ramp for goods, and we have a little storage area for said goods. In here, yeah. And the reason why is because, well, we'll get to that, but there's a series of elevators that that I set up because obviously walking through here narrow, so obviously just having something that can put on an elevator, flip a button, send it, and have excuse me, throat's dry. And the elevators send crates, food, whatever you need through here, especially the heavy stuff, heavy and bulky. I decided to have a kind of a pharmaceutical kind of theme here, or you know, at least someone who was scholarly. Bench, you know, waiting area. under supports because, you know, that way it looks nicer, it looks more authentic. Another one not so decorated, but carpets, bed. I mean, in this game and in this timeline, that's kind of more than what people can ask. Let's be real here. Aloe plants because Ymir is a war god, so you know, having just some aloe plants here that heal wounds is nice. And then we have here is the fortress walls, at least on the side behind the cliff facing the jungle. As you can see, a good range of view, and that way anyone here can just you know, launch arrows, spears, orbs, rocks. And I decided to build this little this little spot up here just to, you know, guard these areas. An elevator to move even more goods, but you know, move up to the fortress instead of across it. And pillars because I wanted these to look nice as well. Now we're here on the main storage area of the keep, area where, you know, goods, and it's basically the bigger front for attack because as you can see here, no entrance ways, and so basically there's not really a front for people to breach, and we'll go into more details later on that. Palisades here, set up so that they funnel light surrounding the area so people can fire arrows. An animal pit because, you know, why not? If you got horses, tigers, elephants, I mean, it's just fun. Beehives, juicers. Like, in terms of, like, trade and stuff, this is also a place where they manufacture food goods and stuff. And as you can see, a storage area. Food to keep the thralls happy. I'm quite happy with it. So we move up. And as you can see here, we got another elevator here, right next to it. Obviously, a group of people carrying this when it's narrow might be hard, so yeah. Elevator. Just move it up the elevator. An area here to fire in case they breach the gate. And another funnel there as well. And the barracks on this side. Obviously, you would have the lower ranking soldiers down here. Added weapons for wall racks. I really love that sword. Carpet. Add a little bit more storage too, because why not? And then, you know, same idea on this side. Maybe more seniority up here. It's slightly smaller, but it looks nicer. And up here we have the more senior ranks. You know, with rank comes responsibility, but with rank also comes privilege. And that's a trade-off for any kind of organization. Really. Cupboard, carpets. And those are shields, in case you didn't know. I went with Lemurian shields just this time, just because I didn't know what they looked like. And as you can see, more and more and more. If they get up here, you have archers to fight there. You have more funnels to fight them there. So this place does value archers greatly. That's kind of the point, though. And up here we have a catapult to gain almost 360-degree angle. Flags here, they're not going to get in the way. And this will basically handle any enemies that come up top of there. Maybe the catapult can reach there. As well as handle this side of the map. Now, I'll get more detail on that later. In case any intruders or if there's an emergency, blow a horn. Crates, flags, elevator because bringing giant rocks and explosive jars up there to fire at invaders. I mean, those will be heavy. It'll be easier to carry this. And yeah, it's the same. And same area over here, although generally with oh, Kitty. Up here, it's not really you don't really need that the palisades for firing. You can use a stone fence and just go to town here. Lots of a falling risk too. Here we have another spot for people to rest and sleep. And this heads down. And that is where the crates will go. A small area for maybe a one of the higher ranks to sleep and rest. Small room, cramped room, but I mean, you know, you get the room of its own. That's something. And obviously the higher senior rank would be up here. Table, chest, chairs, etc. Obviously they can live down there too. And you know, in case, you know, it's a nice day, he can do work outside. And then if you head down here, and you know, this is just you know, another area where you can fire arrows at any incoming enemies here. And obviously you have doors here just to make sure they can't break through. Add a few of these Annas, you know, just because they look nice. And that's my tower that I made a video recently. But yeah, you know, it's like an icon, you know, like a land lighthouse. I don't want to be too close to it though. And a little meeting area. This is the throne outside, and this would be the area where the highest ranks would communicate, you know, diverge information, make plans, etc. Alright, so now we basically covered 1/2 of the area. And since it's nighttime, now here I organized the glowing torches. Most of them are in a pattern. But the effect is absolutely beautiful. More heads there. Especially there. Adds a warm light, makes it bright. And they reflect off the crystals, or the black ice well. More heads, more light. Fires to keep them warm. More heads because, you know, warning. At least to, you know, the demonic or natural creatures. Evil creatures. And there's a bridge. And this is generally what it looks like at night. Alright, so we covered that. And we got a good light show too. Now for the palace. Here we have the bottom of the palace guard barracks. Series of bows, series of swords, a few more shields. And it's pretty nice. Fire to keep warm. Crates. Supplies. Stairway over there. Another door. One way to exit. Grindstone to sharpen swords. Heads, etc. Another area, and to view the bridge as well as the fishies. And then over here we have a hallway, which I actually made. This area here is a window area, just because that way someone can see or talk. And here we have another barracks, although this one, a few less beds, but this is generally more for, higher ranks, higher up you go. In terms of the tower, the higher rank you are, basically. Or veterancy. We have a storage area here as well. And, okay, that's not popping up. Okay, there it is. We have a cooking station, or the cafeteria. Food supplies, and several chefs can make food. Soldiers can take shifts, grab them, and eat them. Now here we have the training grounds. We have a bunch of practice swords. We got a practice shield here, practice shield there. And a few grindstones to sharpen any real weapons. And elevator here to move the heavier supplies up. Because after that, we have the craftsmanship area. Bunch of, furnaces and smelters. And then we have, carpenters, artisans. Basically for people, for the workers or the skilled workforce to do their thing and improve the palace. Here we have it's like a small little eating area outside, and bridge that overlooks it all. Here and here. And this also provides extra effects to the kill blocks, as well as kind of like a second large tower to defend against threats, with a catapult here to also handle anywhere on the area on this side of the castle. And, well, other people could still attack, so you won't have to worry too much. So, a few spikes, a few archers here, and 2 doors to add more reinforcement, and a little area to hold them off here. And then of course another barracks area, although this one isn't as nice. And I'll explain those later. And then we have a collection of doors and points where the archers and, spearmen and whatnot can both barricade and launch attacks from both enemies outside and for any enemies that are climbing up through the doors to try and get in. As you see here, like one or two are climbing, battering at the door, archer here, or maybe, we just got like an orb or something. Little bench area. And as we get higher, another area to guard here, archer. Specifically for these stairs though. Now here, this is where someone more higher ranking soldiers or officers would stay. Got a lot of tap. Okay, yeah, no, it's coming in now. Perfect. So yeah, the texture is coming now. It looks a lot nicer. And nothing on here yet, but it could basically be like a meeting area. And yes, that is a shovel. Small armory here. And we go up. Now just a little area here for either to relax or stand guard here as well. I mean, there's a lot. There is a lot. And here, this place is completely sealed off. This is where things get narrow. And this is where, this is going to be one of the most guarded spots. Alright. Now inside. Little meeting area for anyone that's, Lord of the Keep might want to talk to. Decently sized room, 3x3. Little curtain here. I mean, privacy, why not? Double bed, bunch of pillows. His own giant fridge and a barrel for a drink. Little grindstone, aloe. Little area outside to munch. Much nicer horn, the sound stuff, and yeah, it's the top of the palace. It's gotta be the most aesthetic. As you can see, I added extra. Alright, and that pretty much covers the entire build of this keep. Now we'll move on to, realism and placement of defenses and whatnot. Now back in the day, and I mean way back, centuries before, they would definitely want something that could easily be defended, but they'd also want an area where the land was, plentiful and fertile. Like, if you built on a wasteland, then, I mean, that's generally a bad idea to siege, but, it made the area almost impossible to invade. So looking at how this area is, though, lots of vegetation, water, food. I mean, in terms of a siege, this can, well, depending on one side. If it's on one side, it might be a problem. I mean, it'll fare, but if it's on, both sides, less so. But at the same time, nothing's stopping them from, acquiring water from there. And since they're near such a plentiful food source, dried rations they should be able to keep for months ahead of time. As for, maintaining clean water and food, good place for vegetation, fish for protein, and since it's a jungle area here, and then, fields and whatnot over there, big lake, there is a lot of sustenance and resources. And that means in terms of like a drought or, a famine, this place, while it might be affected, it won't be too brutal. Now, as for the, religion, I chose Ymir because Ymir's got the best look to go for, black ice, and just because of the wall torches, because he's supposedly the ice giant god. So I figured the two would go well together. And Ymir is also a war god, so obviously, I mentioned that earlier. So yeah, weapons, demon heads, etc. Now, in terms of invasion from this side here, obviously you have the giant body of water. But let's say that, there was an enemy, this area, cleared, was able to, they were able to get, a large army here through. For starters, this is hilled and slanted. So moving anything like, catapults or ballista would already be difficult. I mean, that's just how it is. The second is that, it's a narrow point here. They're not going to be able to, line up 10 or 20 of them in a row. So even if they do get a few in, maybe 3 or 4. But even then, you have a walled city that is surrounded by archers here on top. So, to simply put, using catapults, ballista, or, even like ground archers to just fire up there is pointless. It's pointless, it's not going to do anything. Even without all the foundations. It's just a natural shape of the landscape. Over here, though, this would make more sense. But there's a problem with that, and it's that, again, uneven. A little less hilly than that one, but only slightly. But it's also uphill. Uphill from here. And, exhaustion penalty aside, archers are going to be able to get a better shots from here and just be able to pelt them. Obviously, as I said before, palisades, the walls, they'll funnel them out. And they can probably set them on fire, though the enemy can. But, that's going to need more work, and even then, less cover in case, they don't want to get shot with arrows. There's also this path, too, but, it's just so narrow. And even if they do, they're going to have to come around here. And you can just have, like a small volley of archers just pelting them from there. Now, in terms of if the gate was breached, yeah, we got stairs and, the ramp here. But as you know, you would have soldiers here. They'd brace. You have the archers here, which would also inflict a ton of damage. And even if they somehow get pushed back to over here, you're still in a funnel getting pelted from, well, basically all sides. Not to mention a bunch of hungry kitties could just jump down and eat you. And it's the same idea as you're climbing up. The exhaustion penalty of, climbing up. Obviously, if the soldiers live here, they'll be used to it. And yeah, as I said before, arrows are just going to keep going down, going forward, and obviously you can also use spears to the advantage. So the whole thing is built as like a upscale, uphill battle. Now the catapult here, obviously, you don't really need too many catapults or siege weapons on a base like this, just because the land makes it difficult. I mean, we're right next to the jungle here, and there's water everywhere. I mean, it's a natural moat. And even then, the hills, and with the jungle area, you know, just from the bio there, that's going to be difficult. This would make it the most likely spot, but even then, catapult from over there, from this height, versus a catapult over here from this height, there's going to be giving it a sight boost and a range boost. Probably better accuracy too. And you know, as I said, you know, the area is just built to just hammer the enemy down with arrows if they somehow manage to break through and climb up. Obviously, this is the storage area. They're not going to be able to, they're not really going to be moving through here or whatnot. But it does serve as a good way to, you know, fire arrows and whatnot from this side of the wall as well. And the same down here as well. Arrows everywhere. Orbs if, you know, they're trying to use boats. And obviously down here it's not really so much a downhill battle anymore, but I don't know what that is. But now they have to handle being pelted with more arrows down here. Not to mention, because of such narrow quarters, numbers don't mean anything. It'll come down to the skill and the weaponry of a soldier. They get someone with a big shield, heavy armor, you know, just a big monster of a person, barreling through. Then, you know, maybe, but you know, they can just shield wall, push them back while they're being under siege. And like I said before, this is the soldier's castle, or the defendant's castle. They'll know what to do. And yeah, obviously there's not really too much on what would decide with combat advantage here during like the town and stuff, unless, you know, you're maybe up here and, you know, a few arrows and orbs. But still a narrow area where numbers are not going to play an important role. Now here especially, because even if they manage to push through here, there's still going to be the problem of, you know, soldiers coming through there or whatnot, you know, or maybe, you know, they can, I guess a potential weakness would be going through here, coming from this side and, you know, getting behind and fighting there, but that still doesn't get them to the end goal. But that's very doubtable if they're going to be able to achieve that. Training area here is pretty open, but, you know, again, they're going to have a long climb to get up. As I mentioned before, the kill box. Ah, yes, that's right, the moat area around here. Obviously, difficult to pass. Jungle area, biodome. If they do manage to get any siege weapons past there, that's going to be very difficult to, you know, even get one or two. And even then, they're right beside the castle doors here. Few good shots with some skilled archers, or a good shot from one of the siege weapons here, or even just sending out a squad or a platoon of guardsmen. And that's it. Siege and ballista are finished because, you know, it takes time to move something that heavy, especially across such a large body of water, or bodies of water. Another little area for archery. Oh yeah, it turns out that you can plant, you know, torches and stuff on the sides of these, you know, these awnings. And I absolutely loved that. I'm gonna try and experiment more with that, on different videos. But if you thought the other areas were bad with, like, in terms of hills, then this will be the worst one. So as you can see, you could maybe fit a, you know, a platoon of soldiers, but not really much anything else. Or maybe 2 horses right beside each other if, you know, cavalry was an issue. That's also a thing. It's uphill. You might be able to walk, but depending on, you know, the equipment they're carrying as well, that might be a problem. And even then, there's still the wall, there's still the oil, there's still spikes, they can't climb up. A small siege weapon here in case, you know, in case things do get heavy here, but, you know, it's also for this side of the map. But mostly for this one just because of the angle, but they could also use it potentially to aim over here. And if the range is long enough, then, you know, provide cover there, but I don't think the range would be that long. Here though, no problem. Now obviously though, there's the fact of, okay, what if they do break through, and what if they get control of the catapult? Well, and the palace is right there, that just becomes a target. That would be pretty simple to think, but there's also a simple solution. And what that would be is just sabotaging the catapult. The second solution, also in case numbers would be a problem, would be to sabotage the bridge. I built over this kind of extension outward here though, because even though, you know, there was that factor, it was right beside a higher cliffside, so thinking realistically, if they were to, you know, build some walls here, a wall here, a wall here, and then, you know, manage to get 2-3 catapults here, and you're just getting, you know, you're getting your castle wrecked from across the cliffside, and that's why I built it that way. Alright, so in terms of resources, fresh water, fish, lots. Good place for anyone to set up. In terms of defense, very much so. Very much. This would be a very, very difficult castle or keep to raid and conquer, just because the walls are strong, the geological location, and just the fact that the way it's built reduces the numbers of troops to not be too much of a factor of anything. At least for this side of the keep. Over here though, numbers might play a bigger role, a greater role, but at the same time, there's also the difficulty of them having to conquer the inside as well, because, well, you could add doors there too, but again, we'll get to that. They're just constantly getting pelted, and there's a large front to attack. Alright, now, it's in a location that has a lot of resources. It's very defendable. But is it realistic? And obviously that's, this is more on the lines of fantasy. I mean, it's a game, but let's be real. Let's be real. Building up next to, you know, a cliff. I mean, that's not a bad idea. But then again, the amount of resources required to terraform everything here to be able to build alongside a cliff and on top of a cliff, on the side of a cliff, and have it the way it goes, it's a lot. It really is a lot. So, in a realistic idea, it would definitely be a lot smaller. Unless the nation, the lord, the noble, or whoever was in charge of building the castle, maintaining it, or, you know, ruling it, would need a lot of resources. And that would also mean, you know, just maintaining and repairing too, because obviously there'd have to be like a lot of hoists as well. But I mean, all in all, I'm very proud of this. This has been my most, well, my most beautiful work so far. I just love how it runs. Alright, so, resources, defense, and reality check. Now, if I was a different player, what could I change? Well, obviously you could add more foundations to, you know, the ground there. And foundations would basically be, you know, just the same as the pillars. Maybe it might give it a more stable look to it, though. Obviously, I mentioned that you know, Cliffside, I built it on top, so... Looking at it from a viewpoint here, what you could do is, if you wanted to, you could build walls taller. Now, I mean just walls in particular. You know, walls there, you know, add some floors here. And generally that would just, you know, create more room, like the barracks here, if you wanted to. You know, some ceiling tiles here to extend. You could also build alongside here. I mean, if you really wanted to, you could also build maybe a smaller tower here, but, you know, I felt that was too large. I mean, it was already a pretty large base to begin with, but that's just my opinion. And, you know, same idea over here as well, basically. I mean, we get to here, and, I mean, there's nothing wrong saying that I can, you know, build up walls too high, have some ceiling tiles here, and then go all around here, and then, you know, just doing the same thing over and over just to give it a more, you know, more of a castle look, you know, more inside space. Although I did think of that because of, you know, the location. And, you know, it's nowhere near, like, the Arctic or anything. I mean, you got palm trees. I mean, this place is going to be pretty humid and warm. Game-wise, I'm wearing this type of armor that allows you to stay cold in a volcano. And I'm soothing. Oh, I'm soothing, yes. You know, I'm so comfy. Grabbing my flip-flops. But seriously, though. You would be pretty comfy. You wouldn't necessarily have to insulate yourself. Maybe add some awnings to, you know, keep the rain off you. But then again, that would be up to you if you decided to build this. Floors up, and just give yourself more space. And, you know, same thing here, but you know, you gotta make it a point to have the towers here in case they do invade there. Because then they can just fire arrows down there as well. The pillars here, obviously, if they knocked those down, that would be a problem. And, I mean, it's the same here, you know, remove the awnings, extend this a little bit, add some more pillars, and, you know, you got yourself, another post. Little barracks. So basically what I'm trying to say is that, you know, if you wanted to, there would still be room to grow. I mean, there always is in Conan, but, I just like building the base, you know, this way with way it is, just because, you know, I wanted it to be real, but I wanted it to be cool at the same time. And obviously that meant, you know, making everything inside and place where palm trees are growing would be kind of warm, kind of hot. But then again, I'm surrounded by walls of icicle spikes right next to them. Alright folks, that pretty much concludes this space build video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you learned some fun little things. Both in terms of a little bit of history, and on building. So if you liked this video, you like the content, give it a like, subscribe to my channel, helps me out a lot. Don't forget to share, and as always, have a happy day. Bye bye.